Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean. Welcome to our webinar this morning. Happy to have you all on board. So I will be presenting today mondaycom Enterprise Portfolio Management, PMO in other words. So the core focus would be around project management and operations, and how monday.com can fit that all into one platform. So we're really excited to have you guys. The presentation will be handled by myself, and then from there we'll actually be moving on to a live demo, which would be done by a lady named Barbara Kettner. She's our solution analyst who works on the technical side of monday.com. And my side, I'm the project specialist, which is very much involved in the new business development for monday.com. So just to set the agenda for the webinar, if you have a look at my next slide, we're going to be covering PMO, what happens in today's world. We're going to look at why monday.com. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to move on to a live demo. And after that, we'll have some questions and feedback. Just a quick note that we do have a chat column. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop your questions into the chat field. We do have people on standby that are able to assist and answer those questions for you. Okay, so to get the webinar started today, the first thing that I will be looking at and just give you a little bit more background on who Open Networks is, and also a little overview on monday.com and how that partnership came to be. So so just a little bit more background on Open Networks. Open Networks is obviously a South African-based company. We are a technology organization, so a lot of our focus as a company is on cloud solutions. We deal with a lot of data analytics, infrastructure. So we deal with a lot of companies in South Africa, medium-sized to large corporates, where we actually assist them in the migration into more of the digital space. So moving them from legacy systems into different fields or infrastructures, and that's around technology, of course. So that's just a little bit more about Open Networks as a company. We are, in fact, the leading Google partner in South Africa. So we are gold partner of Google, and of course we have quite a significant support structure and staff implement as part of Open Networks. So not only do we assist companies in strategically planning the infrastructure and technology within the organization, whether that's cloud or data analytics or machine learning, but we have the staff and the support to execution that. So Open Networks is very much made up of certified engineers. So we've got highly qualified engineers that form part of our company. We work alongside organizations where we perform custom integrations, which forms part of our development team that we have. And then, of course, we have direct local support. So Open Networks is a national company. We do have a national footprint across South Africa, stretching with mobile teams out into Africa. And a lot of our dealings with different companies, when we look at the infrastructure, is around change management. So we're not only there to provide a solution, but we also provide a service in terms of holding or working with those clients regarding their strategic goals, helping them through the change management process into moving from one system to the next. We take them through onboarding, implementation, and various other things that we do with them in order to get them where they need to be through that change that's happening within their organization. Just an important fact is to let everyone know that we also ourselves use monday.com, in fact. which we use across every department in our company, all the way from HR to our support, custom development, finance, new business development, account management, marketing. So we have got extensive experience on the solution, and each and every one of us is certified on monday.com. So we have completed numerous courses in order to manage and train and support companies locally in South Africa. So moving on so that's just a bit of background on open networks. Just a quick company overview of monday.com, just to give you some insights. So they've recently gone public, the company itself, and they are stretched across 6 different locations across the world. The company itself has over 700 employees, so they've grown rapidly since 2014. There's been significant growth in terms of revenue, as well as customers that they've brought on board. I think at the moment monday.com has over 115,000 customers, paying customers that are using monday.com, and that is stretched across 190 countries worldwide, in over 200 plus industries. So that just shows you the flexibility and how monday.com is able to adapt to any sort of sector, any sort of market, and any sort of use case in terms of its capabilities. So yeah, it's due to that fact, and that's really where it stands out as a PMO solution, is been a major reason for the growth in the company over the last 6 or 7 years. So just give you a little insight, the companies we've worked with. As I mentioned before, monday.com is trusted by over 120 plus companies worldwide, serving 200 industries. And what I've done here is I've just taken a screenshot. Obviously, I could not fit all the companies that we've dealt with and worked with, but selected a few that you guys might be familiar with. And as you can see on the screenshot here, I've just taken a few like Adobe, Coca-Cola. We have Carlsberg, L'Oreal, HubSpot, Visa. So that's just a nice screenshot just to show you the sort of sectors that are using monday.com as a PMO solution, from anything from the financial service industry to production, across the board really. So it really is a system that is extremely powerful in terms of being adaptable and customizable to fit any sort of use case, any sector. Okay, so just some fun information that we've gathered regarding PMO. So obviously part of our process, because we work closely with different companies as well as monday.com, not only do we provide a solution to these companies, but we also get critical feedback from them. And some of the feedback that we've got and what's happening specifically around project management and operations is currently what's happening and what companies are experiencing in the world today. So some interesting percentages that I've wanted to put up here just to give you guys some insights. So 44% of companies, their projects fail due to the lack of alignment between business and project objectives. So I think it's quite a high percentage. We've also 55% there you can see of organizations that don't have access to real-time project KPIs. So, data is not presented in real time. Any updates that they find that happen a day before they put a report, or they try to get their real KPIs that actually can affect the numbers. So a critical thing, and I think a big requirement for companies is having that access to obviously what we call real-time reports. Then 80% of these companies that the feedback around PMO is the report that they spend at least half their time on rework. So it's a huge number, 80% of the time having to rework the information just to get it to where it needs to be. And then, of course, 50% of PMOs spend 1 or more days to manually collate project reports. So again, these are things that monday.com obviously have addressed, which we'll go through a little bit further as I explain the solution. But spending that much time manually having to get project reports is quite a significant number in terms of time spent doing that sort of work. So these are the sort of things that monday.com are there to obviously solve as a PMO, which we'll go through in a bit more detail. So moving on to my next screen. Here you can see, as I mentioned before, what is monday.com. It's an all-in-one platform that has your needs covered. And when we say have your needs covered, what we mean by that, and you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, it's a single platform that does it all really. And what we mean by that is strategic planning within the organization is simple, with all of the most important systems integrated. So it allows you to integrate all your applications, all your systems into one platform. What that means is it centralizes all your data. It makes that data more transparent within the organization and allows teams, managers, departments to plan, work, collaborate, communicate, and report from the same platform more effectively. In terms of work methodologies, supports, most of you are probably familiar with the different methodologies like Agile, Waterfall, and Hybrid, and more. monday.com supports all of them. So it is completely customizable to fit all your unique workflows, your processes, specific projects, or even your once-off projects or once-off needs. monday.com can do all of it. Move faster, meaning that you can become more efficient on the PMO, monday.com PMO, and that is through various things that form part of the monday.com platform, and that is templating, where you can create templates, or you have access to already made templates within monday.com. You can save those templates and reuse them for future projects, as well as automating. So we'll cover a little bit more automation going into our live demo, where you can actually automate a lot of your work, which you currently might be doing manually, and that allows you to move faster within your teams and get projects done a lot quicker, as well as eliminate human error. And then, of course, why monday.com, a platform teams love. So it's a very simple system. It's highly intuitive. It's got a highly intuitive user interface, meaning that teams or employees, they can interact with the visual dashboards, drill down deeper into data. And for these various reasons, obviously, it's been rated as a top solution, backed up with great customer service. Okay, so now what we're going to do is look at monday.com PMO in a little bit more detail in a higher level. And as I mentioned before, we refer to as enterprise portfolio management at every stage. And you'll see on the screen that we have a pyramid. And as part of that pyramid, we've broken it out into three categories, or three sort of components that make up PMO, or enterprise portfolio management. So you can see three being portfolio management, and then we have what we call program management as well as project management. Now, the two main components that make up portfolio management would be project management and program management and project management. So we'll start off looking at obviously project management. So these are typically your project managers that manage all sorts of projects from start to finish. They would be directly involved with their teams, get them to execute different plans around projects, and obviously built around being able to collaborate with their teams with ease. Then we have what we call program management. These are more your program managers, which is a bit more high level to your project management or project managers. These are the sort of individuals that would be looking at managing the risk within the organization. They'll be working a lot with your Gantt charts. They'll be looking at the budgets, what the team capacity is, as well as overseeing all the connected projects at all times. So they'll be overseeing who is working on what projects, how many individuals are working across multiple different projects, at a very much more high-level view than your project manager. And then, of course, we have what we call portfolio management. And that is all that information being reported up to your high-level decision-making individuals. These would be your CEO or your C-level decision makers, as well as your VP-level decision makers, together with their strategic planning and cross-organizational strategy. So those are the components at a high level what monday.com can do. So it's a cross-level solution that breaks it down into different stages, that gives all stakeholders involved in the project management and operations of the business what they need, all in the same platform, as well as sharing all the data in the same space. Okay. So now moving on to what is monday.com as a program. So we refer to monday.com as a work operating system that's structured for PMO. It was originally created for PMO. However, due to the development side and the building blocks of monday.com, we've seen it being used over multiple different use cases. Obviously, our topic today is focused on project management. Work operating system, what we mean by that is it allows companies to design their own internal operating systems within their organization. So taking monday.com as a tool, as a program, and due to the building blocks that make up monday.com, it allows teams to create or use software around their workflows and processes, as opposed to using your typical PMO solutions, which is more building your workflow and your processes around a PMO tool. So, and when I say that, breaking down the WorkOS component of monday.com, what we're referring to there is things like building blocks, which is you can either call Lego pieces or puzzle pieces, which has been developed already and coded for. So there's no need for high-level or certified engineers to support. Everything is already in place for you guys to actually put together quickly boards for projects within monday.com. So to break that down for you in a little bit more detail, monday.com is it has unlimited custom boards and items available within the program. And that really allows you to cover any work methodology and any type of project very quickly. Huge component of monday.com is obviously the visual side of it. So things like portfolio dashboards. You've got multiple ways to view projects within monday.com, up to 17 different board views. And then we've got different column types. So within monday.com, there's up to 32 different column types that you guys can look at. And that allows you to easily customize, update, as well as track your projects, data any way that you want within monday.com itself. Okay. Additional components making up monday.com is obviously what we call automations. If you look to the left of your screen. And this is really a fantastic tool in terms of saving time and becoming more efficient within your processes and workflows. So unlimited automation recipes, which we will cover a little bit more in our demo. But yes, being able to automate almost everything within monday.com, removing that granular or the time spent on that manual grunt work. We have obviously integration, so monday.com can integrate into 40 plus different applications within monday.com. So really it works with all the tools that you're currently using, and what it does is it allows you to pull in all the other applications that you work on within to monday.com, so you can work with one single platform. Of course, driving efficiency. And then we have what we call another component that makes up monday.com and the WorkOS is dashboards. So there's up to 41 dashboard widgets within monday.com, which we'll show you in our demo in a bit more detail. And this allows you to get real-time data in a very visual, high-level view within monday.com. So, and you can interact with those dashboards as well. So not only can you pull in data into those dashboards, but you can also interact with it through its very intuitive user interface. Okay. So just to finish off the presentation side, what I have is just a quick video just introducing you to monday.com, and then we will hand over to Barbara Kettner, solution analyst, who will be taking you through the live demo.
Monday.com is a workOS designed to manage any project or workflow with ease. The flexibility of the platform empowers teams to work in a fast, dynamic way. More than 100,000 companies of all shapes and sizes count on Monday.com to plan, manage, and track their work. Let's start with a board. Here is where the magic happens. It's a fully customizable table where you can shape any workflow in minutes. From sales and marketing to HR, support, and engineering, you name it. Track everything your team is working on, collaborate with your teammates, and visualize your work data in different ways. To ensure you get off to a smooth start, we've created ready-made templates so you can start collaborating instantly. Want to get your mind blown? Meet automations. Monday.com provides a wide variety of automation recipes. You'll be amazed at how simple it is to set them up. Your team can move faster and make an impact while leaving the grunt work to robots. From sending out an SMS or Slack message once a status changes, to automatically turning emails from your inbox into prioritized, scheduled, and allocated tasks while notifying all team members when they're up. Dashboards show you the bigger picture, providing you with key insights across all projects and teams, so you can make decisions based on data, not guesses. See the progress of major projects, spot bottlenecks within departments, or grow a llama farm that shows the status of your projects. Track budgets, profitability, pipelines, or any metric your team measures for success. Monday.com seamlessly integrates with all the tools you already use: email, calendar, messaging apps, CRMs, and much more. It centralizes everyone's work into one shared workspace, allowing information to be easily accessible to the teams that need it. Break those information silos so you and your team can work better together. Monday.com, making teamwork click.
All right, thank you guys for watching the video. Thank you for allowing me to present to you today, and I will now be handing over to Barbara Kettner, our solution analyst, who will be taking you through the PMO demo today. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean. As Sean mentioned, I'm going to do a quick overview of the PMO solution built by monday.com. This is a solution that they built based on research they did, conversations with clients, and obviously the intent is to address the most common processes and needs around project management. The solution is available to anyone who signs up for monday.com, but you're not bound to use it as it is. It's not a fixed solution set in stone. You can tweak it as you need, or else you can build something completely different as well to manage your own workflow and processes. But I think by showcasing their particular solution will really show you the capabilities that Monday has in project management. So before I dive into the actual solution and give you a demo of it, I just want to touch on some of the structure and organization of monday.com. So in terms of hierarchical structure and how we organize all our data and our boards in monday.com, our top level is what we call a workspace. And these workspaces can be set up per teams, per departments, per projects. Even in our case, we use them for each department has their own workspace, and we'll place all the boards and dashboards that they use to manage their workflows and processes within that workspace. Workspaces are in turn divided into or organized into folders, and in those folders you will place all your boards and dashboards. So what we're looking at on screen here is our PMO demo workspace, and these are our folders. You can see we have a high-level folder which contains all the boards that are more geared towards oversight and overview. So it's a lot of our dashboards are in there. We have a projects folder, which will have all the more the nitty-gritty detail around the project management, as well as a templates folder and a business case analyses folder. If we look at a board, the boards are our basic building block in monday.com, where we retain all of our data, and from those stem the dashboards and the views, etc. There are essentially 5 components or dimensions to a board. The most basic one is an item. So you can see the board looks a bit like a table. Each of these rows here is called an item. So that's our first dimension. And all of these items can in turn be organized into what we call groups in monday.com. So each of these headings here with different colors are different groups. And we can set up those groups as appropriate for the particular board or the needs and organize our items accordingly in there. The next component are columns. Sean mentioned that in his intro. We have various types of columns. The most common are the status column, where you can set labels that are relevant to your board. In this case, approved, rejected, or the type of project. And we have a person column where you can allocate tasks to specific people. We have text columns, we have numbers columns, etc. Further dimension or component is sub-items. So under each task or item, we can have multiple sub-items and break down the task even further. And then views is the 5th component. Very quick look, if you look at a view, takes the data that you've got sitting in your main board and very simply and easy breaks it down into a visual component where you are addressing one specific or prioritizing one specific bit of information that you are trying to convey. All right, so our PMO solution kicks off with a project approval process, but we actually know before a project even gets to the point where you submit it for approval, you will have done a lot of work on analyzing the actual business case of the project. So in this case, there's a template set up showing you which every team can use to try and set down their business case analysis for a particular project. So it deals with project problem definitions, goals, objectives, project performance, milestones, etc. So to kick off this project, if you want to use that template, you can click on Add. You can create a new board from scratch or a new dashboard, but what we were looking at are templates. And you'll see that there are many pre-built templates that Monday has already made available. You can browse them by category. As Sean mentioned, monday.com is incredibly versatile and can be used for any kind of workflow or process. In addition to the Monday templates, you can build your own templates. So what we have here are the templates that are specific to our account. And to use one, click on Use, and I can give it a name. And then create the board. And you'll see at the bottom, new board, Project Z, with my particular, and then I can complete my data around that particular project. Right. So we go back to our project's approval board. The entry point into the project approval is a form. So a form is a type of view on a board. It takes all the data fields or the columns and converts them into questions. So if we look at that, you'll see project name, status type, budget, issues, etc. All of these correlate to the columns that are in the board. You can choose whether you actually want that question to show or that data field to show. So you can see some of these already hidden. We don't want people to fill that information in, and you can also make a field required. So that's our setup of the form. This is what the form will actually look like. It's a link that you can then share with your team, place it on an internal site, and people can access it to fill in the form. And we'll, Project Z is what we've got. And we'll complete all the fields. These are all required fields. This is that business case analysis. So in here, you can actually copy the link of the board, place it in here, and then it will keep all the data together. You can also add files. So select files that are relevant to the project as well. A drop down, this particular project, if it falls under a specific program, and then some data that we're asking for in the board, and click submit. Okay, I missed a required question, and submit again. So that's our form submitted. And if we go back and look at our main table, we will see now a new item under the new request group called Project Z. And if I look across the table, you can see these are the information, that's the information that I filled in on the form. What it's also done is, as I initiated or submitted the request, it's placed myself in the initiator column, and it is filled in the today's date as the request date. What it's also done in the background is I can see Monarchy's also submitting a project for approval. What it's also done in the background is sent a notification. So you can see my bell here. So if I look here, and this project, this notification can be sent to whoever's responsible for making sure that projects are approved, and they will get a notification to tell them to go and review the project. So as I've gotten a notification to come here and deal with this, I am going to change the status here of this request to under consideration. And what this will do is move that item to the next group, which is under consideration. So the next logical step in our flow. As mentioned, this is done by automation. So I think this is a good point to just jump in there and have a look. So if we look at the automations, there are a number set on this particular board. You'll see that was the one that was we talked about already with the notification. There's a request date that was created. This is the movement of the group. What's great is if I look at this particular notification, for instance, under notify, what the actual message is, I can pull in any of the fields on my board into the message and make it a really customized notification. Setting up automations are really straightforward. These are all the pre-built recipes that monday.com has made. They've categorized them into certain categories. So pre-built automations around status change or due dates or item creation. So if I click on status change, for example, you'll see there's my status change, which affected the movement of the item to a group. Click on add to the board. It will show me what column I can select from that particular board. I need to select column first. It will show me what are the options of the labels under there. I can click the correct one, and then I can move it to a particular group. So really straightforward, easy way, intuitive to be able to automate some of your workflow. There are also integrations. So the difference between automations and integrations are really that automations all occur within only monday.com. So they're related to notifications, board creations, item creations, updates, reminders, etc. But all happens within Monday, whereas integrations are actions that happen in conjunction with a third-party app. So for example, on this particular board, we've set up an integration with Gmail, and it says when the status of a request changes to approve, send an email to the initiator. So they are notified when approval happens. Again, if I look at the integrations center, you'll see an example of all the apps that are you can integrate with. And looking at the Gmail one in particular, again, pre-built recipes that you just click add to board and complete all the information. Right, so we have our project sitting here under consideration. The premise behind this is that there's perhaps a committee that is going to look at all the information submitted about the particular project and then agree whether to go forward with the project and vote. So, for instance, they would fill in examples around the street or what type of project it is, give a budget, approved budget, and then vote to say, yes, we think we should go ahead with this project. Now, because multiple people can look at this board and it's important that many people can access the board and also update information on the board, you don't want everyone to be able to have a vote in this matter unless they're actually part of the committee that is supposed to vote on the matter. So you'll see there's a lock next to this column, which means that there's a permission set on it. So the great thing is that you can set permissions on columns. In this particular case, we've set a permission, say, only these people can edit this column. So it's myself and the project management team, but no one else has access to this board can actually edit this. So a great way of managing permissions on the board. Right, so we have all our information filled in. The committee has had its say, and we will approve this. Not surprisingly, you will see that the project item has moved down to the group on approved. But not only that, it has actually created a new item. It has created a new item in the program high level board. So we see our project Z is up here. It has automatically set the status to upcoming. It's pulled in the information that we filled in initially on our request about the program. And you can see it's actually linked back to that approval board and is pulling in information. So that's the 500,000 that was approved as a budget in the previous board, and it's actually reflecting it here. So at this point, we're ready to start kicking off our project. It's been approved. I need to allocate a project manager. As expected, this will notify the person that they have been appointed as a project manager. You can fill in, say, due date on this is 31st of August. And then we are ready to kick off the next phase of the project, which is really going into planning. And again, moves our project into the active projects group. And not only has it done that, it has created a dedicated board for this particular project. So all of this that we've been dealing with now, sort of high level, looking at all the projects that are being managed. But then in our projects folder, we have individual boards for each of the projects. And in here, you can do the detailed planning and tasks that are associated with a project. So we've got tasks that are perhaps related to planning, execution, launch, and then closure. So you'll see from the outset, it has built dependencies into the tasks. So this predecessor column, this dependency column, will make sure that specifies that activity 2 can only happen once activity 1 is completed. Same with activity 3, once 2 is completed, and so on and so on. You can also set certain milestones here, obviously set down times when these items need to be completed, and allocate people to a particular task. So I'm going to just jump over to a project in progress, our project alpha, which has got a bit more information completed in the board. So you'll see here activities that already sub-items have been added. There's a progress indicator on those sub-items. And people have been allocated, statuses have been set, and dates and times. The really great thing about monday.com is being able to communicate within context. So I can see that Grant's been allocated to this specific task. If I want to check in with Grant, I can click on update and go at Grant. Please let me know of meeting or whatever else, and I'll and send that. Grant will get a notification, and then he can respond to that. And anyone in the whole team can always come and look at the updates and follow information around that particular activity and keep track of it that way. So a very important way to keep your communication all in one place in monday.com. We all know that we've got email, we've got WhatsApp, we've got all sorts of chat tools, but this is one way to keep it all together and in context on a particular task. All right, if we look at some of the other information that we gather in this board, we've got a files column, so additional information related to the particular task can be added here. We can track the expenses that we have spent on a particular activity and what type of expense they are. So transportation, management, direct work, etc. We can specify what we think, how long we think a particular activity will take. So our planned effort, and then actually once the task has been completed, set out the actual effort spent, and display those in visuals later on. There's a time tracking column over here, which can be started and stopped automatically, or even manually have some information added to it. But there is also a automation. If I click on start, a particular activity is in progress, you will see that the time tracker automatically starts. And if I click on done, it will automatically stop it. The other thing that you may have noticed, and I'll do it again on this task here, if I click on done, what it does, it completes the actual date of completion in this column and marks it as a completed task. And what we have then here are, these are actually formula columns. So calculating the lead and the lag time depending based on the actual date versus the anticipated date in the timeline, and also a visual on whether the task was done on time, whether it's pending, whether it's overdue, or done but overdue. So great for tracking and managing time. Can mention whether there's any risk associated with the activity, and we'll look at this a little bit in detail just now, and what the risk is. So a lot of detail, a lot of information that can be captured specifically for a project. And then what we have up here are a number of visuals or views on the board that will allow us to draw into some of the detail and see it visually. So most common one in project management is our Gantt chart. So you'll see on the left-hand side, our activities are listed out according to groups, the groups of items, planning, execution, launch, and our actual activities on a calendar view. We can change the view to quarters or weeks as well. I'm just going to select auto fit to pull this in here. The color of the activity represents the status of the activity as well, so a great visual representation. I can actually click in to into the activity and edit something here if I need to. And I can also move an activity along, which will kick off an automation and move all the dependencies, all the other activities that are dependent on that activity. So if activity 3 was, or task 3 was postponed because someone was ill perhaps, then it will move all the other activities along as well. I can also, from this view, go and create a new item and add it to the table. Another view that's quite similar to a Gantt view is just a timeline view. In this case, we have got, again, a calendar view of tasks, but split out between the people who are actually allocated to the task, so we can see who's responsible for delivering what and when they should do so. Another view is a simple sort of column chart, which will track effort, so planned effort versus effort spent. And then this is our workload view. And this is really great for managing capacity and resources around around project tasks. So what this does is for each person, and again, this is on the week view, it will place a blue dot. The blue dot is the size of that is determined by the hours, the amount of hours that we put into the main table around planned effort. So it will calculate all the items, all the activities that Gantt has in a particular week, and reflect that in that blue dot. What's superb about the visualization is that I can set what the weekly capacity is, the total number of hours anyone can do in a week. And if it's greater than that, it will highlight it in red. So very simple to see that Manaki is going to be completely overwhelmed and not sleep in week 6. But I have got nothing to do, neither does Gantt, so maybe I can reallocate, or we know we need to do something around those tasks. Right, so that's an overview of the detail you can go into in tracking your project and the information that you can capture. And what we're going to look at now is zoom out and have a look at some of the high-level boards and dashboards. So the first one is the risk management or the risk register. One of the things that has to be carefully monitored within any project. So you'll see this risk register has a separate group for the projects that are on the go. And then as risks are identified, project manager or whoever else can come in here and add the risk. So you'll see data identified is automatically completed again by automation, as well as allocating myself as the risk owner as I've added it. Then I can specify the status of the risk. So it's active, what type of risk it is. It's a technical risk. The probability of it occurring, say high, and you'll see that the probability score is automatically calculated to 3. Impact is medium. And again, the impact score is then calculated based on that. And then a complete risk rate is worked out based on both of those two scores, and a risk level is determined as red, and the others are amber and green, obviously. So probability is also worked out, and then I can specify what the anticipated loss would be if this risk were to occur. Expected loss based on the probability. What would it cost if we actually had to address this? And based on that, it will state what the recommended response should be. So again, this is a formula looking at what comparing the loss versus the actual response cost, and then give either a response recommendation to mitigate or to just track the issue. So all the details in a board. And then to give a good overview, we can look at the dashboard for the risk management, for the risk register. So dashboards are really great ways to visualize your data and get an overview all in one place. What's great about it is that you can link multiple boards to a particular dashboard, so you can collate information around all of your projects into one place. And see it really easily. So these are the kind of reports that project managers or program managers are expected to produce, and that your C-levels execs might look at, and just to get a quick overview of of the situation. So you can, as I mentioned, you can link multiple boards and get an overview of everything holistically, but you can also even just link one board. So risk management, although it's got the high level board as well, pulls in information from there, but a lot of it is around the risk register board. And so what that does is just allows you to compile all of the visual elements into one place on one dashboard. So great battery level looks at the type of risk we got, red, amber, and green. Just gives you a really quick, easy overview of the status. Works out the average score, risk score, looks at the loss cost analysis, the type of risks you're looking at, and then a table just filtering out all the red risks, the really important risks, just to highlight those and emphasize those. So that's the risk management dashboard. If we look at the project dashboard, This one is pulling in from our Project Alpha. So in our Project Alpha board, we looked at various views. We had a Gantt chart, we had a workload chart, we had all of that. But for each of those, you had to be on the board and go look at that specific view, click along, click along. What this does is collate it all into one place. So a countdown, a timer, and then essentially the dashboard reflects or comments on 3 most important challenges when it comes to managing projects. And those relate to costs, cost management, resource and scheduling management, and risk management. So if we look at this on the risk management, gives us an overview of progress. Cool, we're on track, it's all good. A risk category breakdown, score, again, analysis of the response cost versus loss, time and resource management, our familiar Gantt chart, as well as our other workload chart per person, all in one place. So same information that we had on the board. And then effort versus a plan versus actual, lead and lag time. Actually, time estimation or delivery, whether tasks are pending, whether they were done on time, or whether they are overdue. As well as a bit more analysis on the on-time deviations per person allocated to completing tasks. And then finally, around budget management and costs, approved versus estimated, cost types split out, transportation, legal, etc., and budget spent. So that's on a particular project, really seeing an overview of where that project sits. But then there's also a dashboard that looks at a collection of projects or projects sitting in a particular portfolio. So in this case, we are looking at Alpha, Bravo, Delta, and Charlie. And overview of the whole portfolio. Okay, we're okay with 3 of them, but actually this Project Bravo is at risk. We're falling a bit behind. Can put in information about the reasons for the delay. And then again, going into, analyzing what the challenges are around effort management, so breakdown of the effort, where we're at, working on it, if it's in future or done, and that's per project, effort estimation per person, and how delivery has happened per person, where we're on time or overdue. Resource management per project, again, our workload widget showing whether we're spread out the work all right, or whether we're going to be overburdened in a particular week, again, per person on, it's unfortunate my Project Alpha is so far in advance. So the same workload widget in relation to actual people delivering, and budget tracking. So allocated spend, approved versus allocated budget by type. And there's our famous llama farm that was mentioned in the video, just a little fun way. This shows our different projects, and the color of the llama relates to what phase the project is in. And the bottom is just a table where you can link in basically to the main table and get and drill down into detail if you wish to. And that takes us to the end of a very quick overview and demo of the project management solution. So I think we've got a bit more time left for some questions and Q&A from any questions that were placed in the comments. So the rest of the team is going to come and join me, and guys, take it away with any questions.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Bob doing the demo for us there. Let's quickly have a look here. Jacques Viljoen, the question was there, if they only buy 1 license, does it mean only 1 person can edit the template, update the project, and the whole team can view the progress? Unfortunately not. Monday.com licensing works on a per user base. So if you've got 10 people that you want to view the progress, to put it that way, in your organization, then you'll have to buy 10 seats. Basically the same as any other software package that you buy, it's per seat. Let's have a look. And yes, to confirm your second question, Jacques, the licensing works in bundles of 5. So if you've got 7 users in your company, 7 people in your company, you have to buy 10 licenses. Unfortunately, they only sell them in bundles of 5. Any other questions?
Great.
Letitia asked if the viewers are outside of your organization. Yes, you can have guest accounts that is outside of your organization. There is a limit to this depending on the licensing structure that you are on. There are different licensing structure, as in professional or enterprise. But yes, Letitia, it is possible for outside viewers to view a board, but there is a very strict limit to this. Letitia, what can guests view? Guests can basically view a board or a dashboard. Also very, very limited, just view access. They cannot change anything. It is literally just view. No, so what can guests edit, update? No, that's actually just view access. So they can't update anything as guest view. Let's just give anybody else they want to ask questions. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like we're good. Okay, Lorna's got one. Can you just share a link to a board to people without them having to have a guest license? Lorna, the moment you share, you have to share the link to a guest. When you do that, they actually get they are assigned a guest account. So the moment you share a board with someone that's not in your organization, basically giving them view access or read access, then they automatically get assigned a guest account on the system. Awesome. And I'm going to give over to Grant.
Thank you, Maniki. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Sean. And thank you to the rest of the team. And thank you to all of you guys for joining us for our PMO webinar. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to learn more about monday.com. We hope you found the session insightful and informative. And should you wish to reach out and further explore how monday.com can transform your organizational workspace, or have any questions or require a demo, please visit our website at www.opennetworks.com or contact either Sean Barry or myself, Grant Rees-Bevan. And thank you, and all please be safe.